of any society. This is especially true for Windhoek, Namibia's capital, the hub of economic activities and tourist city renowned for being one of the cleanest cities in the world. Now, the responsibility of ensuring that all solid waste generated within Windhoek is managed in a safe and optimal manner rests with the Division of Solid Waste Management. Now, the City of Windhoek launched the construction of waste buyback centers under the European Union-funded projects titled, and I quote, Improving Solid Waste Management in Windhoek within the framework of Windhoek Bremen Sister City Corporation. Now, the ceremony was officiated by the Mayor of City of Windhoek, SADC governors, and the Ambassador of EU Delegation to Namibia, Sinika Antila. Joining us now to give us more details on the matter is City of Windhoek Section Scientist of Licensing, Research and Education in the Solid Waste Management Division, Gideon Hengari. Good evening, Mr. Hengari, and welcome to the show.
Good evening, and thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hengari, firstly, help our viewers understand what solid waste is and the importance of managing it correctly.
Yeah, well, I think one can define solid waste as any unwanted or discarded solid materials that are generated at different levels, one of them being at household level, industrial areas, and also commercial areas.
All right. Now, Mr. Hengari, there is a fast growth rate in the city's population, accompanied by the additional demand for delivery of municipality services, including solid waste management. Talk to us about the current situation of solid waste in Namibia and how dire it is that solutions found are environmentally friendly.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yes, solid waste management globally, not just in Namibia, it's of serious concern. When one talks to different processes involved in managing the solid waste, you have to look at your containment. What type of containers are you providing the residents or the public at large to contain your solid waste? You look at the collection method. What collection methods or transportation method are you using to transport waste from point of generation? And also you look at your disposal methods of your different type of waste. How do you dispose of your waste? Are there any environmental friendly processes involved or not? But as you know, Namibia, we are a developing nation. We are a nation that is really not well off in terms of waste management systems, development thereof. But what one can say, at the level of Windhoek, we have developed various systems that we use to manage waste from different waste streams. We collect waste from connected households in Windhoek. We have provided other systems that we use at different levels to contain, collect, and transport. We have state-of-art waste transportation systems that we have created as part of our waste management policy. And also on top of that is that we have the enforcement mechanisms in terms of that we have developed our solid waste management regulations. So those are key factors that one has to look at in terms of the overall managing your waste holistically.
Right.
So you look at the systems that you have developed, you look at different resources in terms of what resources are you using to manage this waste. And of course, now lastly, you look at your enforcement mechanisms and also your awareness raising methods. How do you get the public involved and public get to know what systems are in place for the management of waste?
All right. Now, Mr. Hengari, talk to us about the waste buyback centers. What are they and what role do they play in managing solid waste effectively?
So, yes, thank you for that. I think we have alluded at the beginning that we are very fortunate to have received a grant funding from the European Union with our sister municipality of Bremen. And part of this grant funding will fund the construction of 2 waste buyback centers in Windhoek. Waste buyback centers can be defined as a place or a center where the public can sell their recyclables. So they sell the items that can be recycled, either papers, plastic, cardboard, and so forth. So these places will buy waste directly from the residents, and the resident will be paid in a form of cash, depending on the type of material that they bring to the center. And also I think in terms of how this will assist in the overall management of waste is that public will get incentives in selling the waste to the city. We feel that the residents or the public at large will get some income from selling the waste, and also we think that littering will be greatly reduced. I think it has become a norm that if you drive behind a taxi or any other car, you will see waste flying all over. So we want to keep that, and we want to get the residents know that in waste they generate there is value attached to it. We want to get public input and public buy-in in terms of solid waste management overall.
All right. Now, talking about solid waste management, what are some of the dangers that can be derived when it comes to the mismanagement of solid waste?
Yes, the dangers that can arise as part of mismanagement of solid waste is that there will be outbreak of diseases. You know that accumulation of waste can lead to a creation of breeding places for your rodents, your mice, and all that, and this will have a negative impact in terms of your environmental pollution, and also knowing Namibia depends largely on groundwater, especially in Windhoek. So this undiscriminatory management of waste can lead to a lot of environmental issues. And also, you know, Windhoek or Namibia is one of the tourist attracting countries. So if you have waste flying all over, and if you are not managing your waste properly, I think a dirty city will be an unattractive city in terms of your investment, or looking for potential investors, and also largely attracting tourists.
All right. Now, Mr. Hengari, briefly, finally, what do you hope these centers will bring about in how waste is managed, and not only in Windhoek, but across the whole of Namibia?
Yeah. I think in countries like South Africa, where we did some of our benchmark studies, the national government is largely supporting the construction of waste buyback centers in terms of providing infrastructure to local authorities. In South Africa, waste buyback centers are very common. I think one will call upon the involvement of the private sectors also in assisting with the construction of these centers. So they call it multi-recycling centers, the other name. And also through these, if you construct your own buyback centers in your backyard, and you have a potential market where you are selling these products, I think it's also one of the ways to alleviate poverty. It's also one of the ways to address the issue of high level of unemployment in a country, not just in terms of providing incentives, but as an entrepreneur in waste management. I think you can easily start that business. Is open to anyone. It has been practiced in many countries.
Right.
So why not practice that in Namibia and get that support and that buy-in from the national government?
All right. Mr. Hengari, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Good. Thank you so much.
All right. That was Mr. Gideon Hengari, who is that is the section scientist of licensing, research and education in the Solid Waste Management Department of City of Windhoek, talking to us about solid waste management and also the newly launched waste buyback centers that were launched today in the city. Now don't go anywhere. Let's take a look at more news.